All right, the Bucks. It is Talking Buccaneers with me, Fumane, after Orlando Pirates 2, Chippa United 1. And where I want to start today, and if you've followed this channel for any length, you all know that I so often like to start here because I feel the need to, just in response to some of the things that I see that we do as a fan base. And I mean, I like to weigh in on these things and have my say about them. And what I like to say, or rather what I love to do, is I love to laugh at a portion of our fan base. I love to laugh at them, and I laugh at them because so often after a game like this previous one versus Chippa United, where someone like Saleng has again pulled out the goods to silence his doubters. Now, I know it's starting to get a bit boring to have this conversation, but I think I'm probably going to have it even more times than I would like, because, it still seems like there's a portion of the London Pirates fan base that, like I said, still doubts Munapule Saleng. And, I'm under no impression that he plays a great game all the time. But the thing with Saleng is, he doesn't need to play a great game all the time. He needs to score goals for London Pirates. And he scores goals for London Pirates. And for London Pirates to win anything, and you will know, having watched the Nedbank Cup last season before that, cometh the hour, cometh the man. Munapule Saleng always produces the goods. When needs must, he pulls out a trick from somewhere, and Orlando Pirates is then happy, And again, this time, first game of the season, I mean, I don't even want to imagine what it would have been like in places like Twitter if Orlando Pirates will have not won this game, what the situation was going to be like. And I'm not even talking about the Chiefs fans. Forget those guys. I'm talking about our own fan base if Orlando Pirates drew that game or lost it. God forbid if we'd lost that one, I don't even want to see what happens on Twitter. But again, guess who rescued Orlando Pirates? And, as the kids would say, Munapule Saleng is the breadwinner of Orlando Pirates. He is the Moses of Orlando Pirates, as the kids would say. And I like to start these things here. In fact, I don't like to start these things here, but I'm forced to start here a lot of the time with these things. And credit to Saleng. What I want to say is, I can be entirely honest, that wasn't a great game by Orlando Pirates by any stretch. I mean, I'll get to sort of what I saw the approach of Pirates was, but it just wasn't, And I think I can imagine something I was thinking as sort of the game is being played. I'm thinking that Chippa United, the conversation will have been something like this before they come to Orlando Stadium. The conversation will have been, look boys, we're going to, Escotini. And Pirates is just going to have their fan base. They're going to come out in their numbers. Things are going well at Orlando Pirates. And so you're going to be under the cosh, but we're going to get 3 moments because we're a good team as well and we've got good players. We're going to get 3 moments, and in those 3 moments, we need to put one in the back of the net, at least. That's our only fighting chance. And that's just my fear, as the game is being played. I'm thinking, look, Chippa know they're not going to get a joy, but they're going to get moments. And maybe they had more moments than I will have liked, but they had their moments. They put one in the back of the net. And credit Andy Lechali. What a goal. But more than that, what a 45 minutes. I thought he was he gave a principal-esque performance in that midfield. He was sort of the general, running everything, running the show, oozing quality and class. And maybe an extra bit of class by him is to not celebrate against his former club. I think credit Andile Charlie for that. It's lovely to see that he still holds Orlando Pirates dear in his heart to not celebrate against us. And I love to see that sort of thing with these guys. And I digress. But something I was saying is that around the 20th minute, I'm already, in my mind thinking about these things that I'm fearing. I've seen this a lot of the time. And maybe, I hate the fact that I still think like this, because maybe it's history that has done this to us as Orlando Pirates fans, where when things are not going our way, we start to panic, you start to be worried. Oh man, I've seen this. It's going to end in a 0-0, or Chippa United might just get that last goal, maybe Evanga or something like that, corner kick, and they get that one goal and then we lose this one. And but hence I'm actually so happy about Pirates having won, because in the course of a season you're going to need wins like this. I would ideally like to have one or two, and because inhliziyo yami cishe yami badlalile abafana, but I would like to only have one or two of these at most, where needs must 1-1, we turn 1 point into 3. I will only like to have 2 of those. But in the course of the season, Mama said these games would come, these days would come. Maybe they come too early at times, but in our case, the season has already started because we've played a couple of games. So maybe, I understand it from that regard, that we've actually played quite a number of games so far. And look, if these games, when they come, we can win them in the 90th minute, then I'm more than happy. Because we're going to win other games, and we're going to win them 4-7-0. Best believe, because we're that good. But I'm happy that, we can win these ones. But I can't help around the 20th minute, sort of going towards the end of the first half, thinking that, man, I've seen this. I know what happens. The fans are going to start getting a bit of a twitchy behind as we make mistakes, if we don't take chances and that kind of thing. And I can be entirely honest, we didn't get a lot of chances, but I'll come to that. As we sort of, are trying to make these inroads and maybe a bad cross here, that kind of thing, it starts to get toxic at Orlando Stadium. And maybe a word on that. I think, I wonder how much as fans we need to do in that regard to, try and transfer a good positive energy onto the pitch for the players, because I really think these things are palpable. I think the fans can feel it when we are, I think the players can feel it when the fans are starting to turn, which they do at Orlando Stadium. Not yet. I think we haven't yet. I've seen a very toxic Orlando Stadium over the years, even over the 2 years in Jose Rivero's tenure. I don't know how you would prefer that I say that. But I've seen a very toxic fan base. In fact, you see it a little bit with Patrick Maswanganyi in the second half. You hear it. You start to hear the murmurs around you. Tito must go out. Let Tito go out. Let him go out, that sort of thing. And, specifically next to me, there was a man I can tell he's from Pitori. I just could tell from the way that he spoke. And he was just, he was just losing it. And there are a lot of people like him in the stadium who start to get frustrated. And I understand them. It's because that's just who we've been over the years. Things haven't been going well. And we've had to often be angry at the stadium at players. But I really do think that there's a responsibility on our part as well. But it's so interdependent, this thing, that there's a responsibility on the players to perform well, which then is a responsibility on the fans to stay positive when they're not doing well. And then, they repay back that when they feel that we are positive and supporting them, even though they 1-0 down, to, then stay patient, believe that, the fans believe it's coming, and so they believe it's coming. So it's a whole interdependent thing. But I do think there's a responsibility on us, the fans, when we're feeling things aren't going our way, even when we fear for the worst, best we can to try and remain still, to try and just be relaxed, support the guys, let them do what they do, because it starts to be a bigger job for the head coach to try and then manage a situation of trying to come back, but then now you've got your own fan base, which is, getting nervous, getting sort of toxic, and that sort of thing. But credit to, firstly the players that they didn't allow the 1-0 down situation to go on for too long. Very quickly, in fact, I think most ideal time, just before the half ends, we get a goal. And again, I think it's through the efforts of people like Monapule Saleng, who, directness, I think that would have been the approach actually by Pirates to say, let's try and isolate their fullbacks and our wingers, and then go direct at them. You see the continuation of an ongoing duel between Gamis and Mofokeng, which again Mofokeng did a number on Gamis yesterday, and I love to see that. But that's how the sort of 1v1 directness of Saleng comes. He takes on a fullback, he takes on a man. I couldn't quite see who it was. Because I don't have my glasses. For anyone who follows this channel, you'll see that the glasses look is gone now, but yeah, it means I can't see at the stadium. So he takes on a man, he gets fouled, we get a penalty. Tsogfatso Mabasa puts in the back of the net. 1-1 Orlando Pirates just before the break, and I think it then sets up the game to, firstly, the momentum is with Pirates, because I think the halftime team talk will be better in the Orlando Pirates camp than it is in the Chippa United, because for Orlando Pirates, it'll be well done, boys, let's go get another one. For Chippa United, it will be a bit of a disheartening thing to have just let it slip right at the very last, when they're about to go into the changing room and come out in the second half and try and defend their lead. But so I think we set it up perfectly for the second half. And what I'm hoping for is we can come out of the blocks and sort of come out swinging and get the second goal quickly. Because I know if we do that, we will get the third and the fourth. That's just Orlando Pirates. That's just Orlando Stadium. But we obviously delay. But I think there's a lot in it. It's not just the fact that, we just kept out. I think even in our approach, I thought we were, firstly, Chippa United, to give them credit, I thought they gave a very, very, very good defensive display, but even an offensive one. I mean, it wasn't the most amazing. It wasn't near what we saw last season at their stadium, where Evanga was just, on fire. But I thought even today, damage limitation, they were threatening best they could. In fact, I think their passing play was amazing at times in the midfield, in the middle third of the pitch. They got around us or got past us quite easily, quite fluently, quite brilliantly. And so credit to them for that. But I think more so their defensive display, I thought they kept us out, especially through the center. The kids will not know, especially the kids that are playing FIFA 22 and EAFC, whatever now. But there was a saying in FIFA 07 for some of us who were alive back then. I know that there's a portion of people who weren't alive in 2007, or at least they're alive but were not playing FIFA back then. But yeah, there was a saying by one of the commentators. He'd say, this defense is really tough like screwage. They are so miserly. And I thought that best characterizes or describes Chippa United yesterday. I thought they were so miserly, so compact. We couldn't make any inroads. We couldn't penetrate them through the center. And yeah, so we were trying to, attack them through the flanks. So you'll see underlaps from Dino van Rooyen, fantastic player. Dino van Rooyen, Mona Pule Saling on the right, sort of trying to find these overlapping runs. Same thing on the left, Hoto, Rilem Fugeng, but no inroads, no joy, because would sort of get past, that fullback and then, or that winger and have a 2v1 situation and then try to cross into the box, but they would deal with it very well and keep us out. And so it feels like we're getting into their box, but we're not creating chances. And I think Chippa United is happy with that. And yeah, so it's tight. It requires for a moment of magic, I'm thinking. It requires for someone to just take on someone and come out with magic. Obviously, no one does, but Saleng does in the very last minute of the game via a very brilliant Hoto cross again. Then Saleng in a situation where, so often you can see teammates disturbing each other in that sort of thing, going for the same header with Witumelo Radio Bane. But Saleng hits his shoulder in the back of the net. I'll take those. And I'm happy because I thought, Nwabali, again, was a giant for Chippa United. But to be beaten by the shoulder is what it required, because he couldn't be beaten by anyone's foot, Stanley Nwabali. But yeah, just some other thoughts that I just want to, throw out before I wrap this one, before I go on for too long, is, I want to sort of shout out to Dino van Rooyen, who I thought is a fantastic addition to Orlando Pirates. And I think what you're getting from him is you're getting a very up and down kind of player, and he's very good with both the up and down. But most importantly, he's also good with the down, because, we so often like to contrast, Munyani, Shandu, Libito, and so often we'll say, hey, but Shandu is good at this, but maybe going back is not that amazing. Same goes for Libito. And then very recently we've been talking about how defensively astute, Munyani has been, but he'll so often betray his work going forward because he'll do well and then his final product will be terrible, that kind of thing. But with Dino van Rooyen, maybe too early for me to talk, but so far what you are seeing, you've seen it in Stellenbosch, he's just very good going back, very tough, good recovery, that kind of thing, work ethic, work rate. He's just, always at it, biting at someone's heels, non-stop, full game, being a nuisance. But he'll also go forward and produce a peach in terms of his crossing. But maybe if there is a criticism, which I'm going to have to work hard to find, is that I thought at times he would follow Saleng, and his running, where I thought maybe he needed to overlap, I thought he was just not giving Saleng an option, or it was just sort of they following each other yesterday. And I thought maybe that's something to do with chemistry. Maybe that's still going to come, because chemistry does come over time with playing more with someone. And so, when he goes here, I need to go there, and that sort of thing. So I didn't think it was that fluid. At times, you saw times where they did well with the overlap, underlap, but I thought there was room for improvement in that regard. I just do want to give a shout out to Dino van Rooyen. I thought he was fantastic for the mighty man in black yesterday. Just lastly, maybe to touch on this is to say, in the 60th minute, something I'm thinking about is how is the coach going to affect this game, right? Because very few times I think the coach has an opportunity to, I want to think about how I say this. I think there's very few opportunities in a 90-minute game for the head coach to step in. Obviously he sets the lineup, he prepares the team in the week. So to some extent, it's obviously the head coach who should get some credit. But sorry, I beg your pardon. Great coaches will say when the team wins, the credit should go to the players. When the team loses, the head coach should be in question. That's what great coaches say, right? So and I'm using that to kind of say that, I mean, of course, when the team wins, there is some credit that goes to their head coach, but it's specifically when things aren't going well that, you know, the torch, the light is on the head coach to say, how are you going to change this game? How are you going to affect it? And so in the 60th minute, that's sort of what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, okay, look, Zindala Zombili, Kute Manigini, Jose Rivero, here's your opportunity. How are you going to affect this game so that Orlando Pirates win it? And obviously, I think he goes for what I think the game is crying out for. He pulls out Makehleni Makaula and he brings on Kabelo Dlamini in that midfield. And obviously, Dlamini, you know what you get. You're going to get, as the kids would say, the system of, you know, Orlando Pirates. He comes on and he dictates it with his passing, which is amazing. I think he gives, or rather he alleviates a bit of the creative pressure on Talent Mbata to, you know, get us into like attacking situations. I think that's what Makehleni maybe struggles with. You know, Makehleni Makaula is a great player. Make no mistake about it. However, in the regard of getting us from our build-up into, you know, these offensive situations where we can create chances, he's obviously not the best player for that. And I think that's what Jose Rivero is still thinking through, which I still am thinking through, to say, you know, there are these games you can tell that they're crying out for Kabelo Dlamini. But then there are these games where you start with Kabelo Dlamini and Talent Mbata in midfield and you realize, we need to sort of make it more tight with Makaula in that midfield. And I'm still trying to figure out which games are those. And the head coach is not going to get it perfect. He's going to get some games where he thinks it's a Makehleni Makaula game, and then he realizes in the 60th minute that maybe it requires Dlamini, and then Dlamini comes on, and then Pirates win. We're going to see. I think we're still going to see those. Ideally, I wouldn't. I would want my head coach to know, with his, you know, analysis team and all of that, and the technical team, to know which games require what. But we're going to see this so often, where you start with Makaula and you realize into the game that, hey, it's crying out for Dlamini's creativity, his brain. And some you think, okay, maybe let's start with Talent and Dlamini, and then, you know, their midfield is then all over us and we need a bully in that midfield. And so I thought it was one of those situations. I thought right call to bring on Dlamini by my estimation anyway. It required for someone who's going to be on the ball and create some stuff for us. And obviously Dlamini comes on. He doesn't really create a clear-cut chance, but I think we start to bug them even through the center when Dlamini is on. Maswanganyi, not the greatest of games, but again, I thought something that was disappointing was the fans who were just now sort of, and again, I'm under no impression that Maswanganyi plays well all the time. So I'm not even saying that. I'm just saying that we need to be careful with the manner of how we become toxic towards our own players, because I think we can kill them. We really can kill their morale and their confidence. And so I think Tito wasn't the greatest game, but Tito has his moments, and Tito is on the pitch because Tito gives us what no one else can. He's just going to be on the ball and he's going to attract men. He attracts men, Patrick Maswanganyi. And I'm not talking about physical appearance. I'm talking about when he's on the ball, opposition want to come towards him. And what it does, then it frees up spaces. And so you always want to have him on there. But that's not to say that, he should always play. He never has a bad game. Yesterday wasn't his best game, but I thought having him on still meant that Chippa United were thinking about the best player at Pirates is on the pitch. And so that sort of unsettles a few things. But not so much in the way of, his creative best yesterday, Tito. But I thought he had his moments where he did, a couple of moves that I thought were required, because you need someone to be on the ball. Just be on the ball so that you can disorganize their formation. Last minute winner by Saleng, and again, just so I don't labor this point too much. I love it when, even when we don't play well, we win these games, because we're going to need that if we're going to win anything shiny at the end of the season. But yeah, anyway, again, not the greatest of performances, but great for Orlando Pirates to win. Up the Mighty Bucks. Cheers. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video from Talking Buccaneers. If you did, please hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with all our future content.